What's up, everybody? JD here. I hope y'all are doing well today. I wanted to do a quick video. I've had the truck now for about 3 months, and I just kind of wanted to go over 5 things that I really like about the truck, and then talk about 5 things that I don't really like about it. Or that were a little disappointing in some aspects of it. So, number one, right off the bat, going to be the fact that I really just like the look of this generation, the third gen Toyota Tacomas. I think they just have a really nice look to them overall, aesthetically. A very good looking truck, very rugged looking, and just really well done by Toyota. I think that they really did a good job out of the gate with the Tacomas. The first gen looked good. The second gen was a slight improvement over it. And to me, the third gen just really ironed it all out for me personally. I really like that the way that it looks. I catch myself often when I'm going in shopping, going into the office, just looking back, taking a look back and really thinking to myself, man, I really just like the way that that looks. So looks definitely are number one that I do like about it. Now, the first thing I'm going to say that I don't like about the truck is going to be the interior. And specifically, I'm talking about the scratchy plastic, guys. Don't get me wrong. Toyota did put what I would say is a really nice, thick material on it, but the material that they've used, as you can see here, I did buy this secondhand. I am the second owner, but it was, I don't know if they had a pet or what they had, but my goodness, this plastic just scratches super easily. I apologize, I haven't had a chance to clean it for this video. And that extends out to this plastic that is on the gauge clusters, or the bezel protector, whatever you want to call it. Really scratched easily. Like, again, this was like it when I got it, but I have researched this, and it seems like people have complained that when they go to wipe it to clean it, it just scratches really easy. And then again here on this plastic, although a little bit harder. All right, so trying a little bit of a different angle. Maybe you guys, maybe you can see it. Trying to come straight from the top down. Maybe hit it from a different angle. Not as easy to see. And I'll also say, like, some of the paint in here on this finish, a little thin. Now, what I do like about it, I like the cab. I like the seating position. I think the seating position in here is really nice. Everything kind of flows. I can find everything for the most part. The push start is hidden a little bit by the steering wheel, and so are the camera controls and such down here. But I would say that the camera control when you're off-road gonna be okay. You'll be able to find that when you're off-road. You don't have to worry about not being distracted. I think when you're off-roading, you're probably going to stop and cut that on for when you need it to do certain obstacles and things of that nature. But really nice cab layout. And to add to that, I will say I do think that the fit and finish on here is really nice. They use extra fasteners. The plastics themselves feel thick and held together well. Nothing really rattles, nothing really squeaks or anything like that. It's not something that's going to pop or stand out, but it also seems like it's just a really nice, clean finish. Everything's clearly laid out, easy to find, and everything like that. So I do like that they use like quality plastics. Again, everything's tight. There's not a lot of gaps. So it does feel like it's a very quality vehicle. So the next thing that I don't really like, since we're here, is going to be the transmission. So I really feel like this truck does a lot of gear hunting when I'm trying to merge onto the interstate, or when I'm accelerating from a light, from a stop, or anything like that. It just hunts. It hunts for gears if I'm trying to pass on the interstate. and I don't want to give it a ton of gas. It seems like you got to push the pedal down forever before it'll do anything. And I know that there are fixes out there. I've seen the pedal commander. I've seen the OTT option out there to reprogram the ECU, which is great that the aftermarket has kind of answered the call for that. But I really wish that wasn't necessary, especially when you hear about how the new 8-speed, I think it is, in the 2024 plus Tacomas drive much better. The throttle response is much more engaging. The shifting is a lot better. The power's on demand. The torque is there. You don't have to really try to hunt for it. I'm currently under warranty. I have my truck is gold certified, so I have to 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. So I'm really kind of reluctant to address the gear hunting right now. And I don't know at 100,000 miles that I'm going to be trying to tune this truck either. So I don't know if I'll ever have that option. The way that the pedal command sounds like what it does is it really kind of changes just the throttle response, but not necessarily the shift positions. And I think the shift points are like the other big part of the equation here. So I just need to decide if I'm going to go ahead and do the torque tune and then hope that nothing happens to where I have to take it to the dealer, or that they won't, reject me if something mechanically fails. Obviously, if something electrical fails, that's my fault for doing that. But I just wish that it was a little bit of a better option. So like that's probably I don't have these ranked, but I would say like that is my biggest disappointment. The next thing that I do really like about the truck, I'm gonna step out of the cab for just 1 minute. It's gonna be the aftermarket for this. So there's a ton of stuff. You can't really see. I have the Truxedo. I did go soft top because I want to be able to use the full bed. And I do want to cover stuff when I have stuff in the bed that I don't want either exposed to the elements, or I just don't want clearly visible so someone could walk by and just kind of pick up whatever they want out of the truck and just walk off with it. So I do like that. I did put a pop and lock on here so that it complements the tonneau cover. Somebody can't just come by, and if I forget to lock my tailgate, they can't just pop it open and look inside to bypass me having the tonneau cover on there. I have seen videos in California where there's a big issue with these getting stolen. Here over on the East Coast, especially in Virginia, I don't think that's prominent. Maybe, but I really haven't seen that. So I do really like the aftermarket options here. And of course, that you can get from the aftermarket and you can get directly from Toyota. I think the other thing on here that I put on is really cool looking. I took the chin spoiler off. I know y'all like my high-tech plate cover. And I put the TRD Pro, or sorry, TRD aluminum skid plate on there. Obviously, I'm doing things in phases. It's pretty expensive to do a bunch of mods on here, but I'm thinking, because this will be my daily driver and I'm probably going to be taking it on the weekends, I'm thinking 2 inches. I'm thinking TRD road, TRD wheels with 265/70s on there down the road. But again, this is down the road. I just bought these open country Toyo tires. I'm going to do a review on those, but great on-road mannerism. I think they will allow me to do beginner trails fairly easily, and maybe even some intermediate stuff potentially. I will report on that if I can. But I just love the aftermarket for it. It is kind of weird that Toyota neglected some things on here, so I was really surprised that they didn't have door sills on my particular one. Oh, I left my water bottle in here from mountain biking. I need to take that inside. They didn't have that, but I was able to find those fairly affordable. And mine did come with the Tacoma mats in there. So I do really appreciate that. But, these were fairly easy to install. The paint was a little scratched already under it. So it was a bonus that it also kind of covered that up for me. So I really did like that. I will say the technology in here is probably the next thing on the list that I don't really love. My wireless charger doesn't work at all. As you can see there, I just have an iHome charging pad on there with a fast charger and a fast charge cable. Even the people that say that when they take the cover off or they don't have the camera bump on their phones, they say that it charges really slow on this model, which is disappointing to hear. I love that it has the automatic rear window. But then on the TRDs, I feel like heated seats should be standard. I don't think they need to be a part of a technology package or a premium package. I do appreciate the auto climate control, dual zone auto climate control, but I'm a little disappointed that the heated seats aren't on this. Like, I'm coming off of a 2013 Subaru Forester Premium, which is the mid grade. Don't be fooled. It's the mid grade for them, and it had heated seats standard. So I feel like they kind of could have done that for this particular one. So a little disappointed in that. And then keeping with the aftermarket theme, I know that's the prior one, but there's just like this little glove box organizer. I love that. I think that is awesome. I also found this. I have like the 40-ounce Owala water bottle, and this is great for that. It's adjustable size. I'll leave this one linked because I tried another one and it actually ended up being too tall and ended up kind of bumping into the console there with the water bottle, and the height of that one fit better though. And then the little hidden glove box here. I will say I worry about this tape. I'll be curious to see how long that holds up. But so far it's done really well. Now this I leave empty. So like when I go mountain biking, I can throw some goods in there that are not going to be as apparent. But just all this little 3D printed stuff is really nice. I really appreciate that. A little junky down there. I haven't finished organizing. But again, just, continuing on with the aftermarket and the options, like the selection of options are really, really nice. The next thing that I'll say I don't really like, it's just going to be not that the seat is cheap, but I will say that the materials that they used, I kind of wonder how well these will hold up over time. I haven't seen anybody that has long term, but I think these bolsters are going to really wear really fast. I mean, this is, again, a 2-year-old truck, and you can see it's kind of already from where you get in and out starting to show a little bit of wear. So a little disappointed in that, being that a lot of the other stuff in here is fit and finished so well. Now, I do have the power seats, and I'm glad that I do, because I do have it maxed raised up here for support on the back of the legs, because I have heard and seen where people have said that it is a little uncomfortable, and they have adapters that you can install here to kind of lift up the seat to make it a little bit more comfortable. But some people have complained about the seating position when riding in this vehicle, and to me, that's not really an issue. It's very comfortable for me, and I'm 6'3", which was a little surprising. And I know that people say that this doesn't have like a ton of backseat space. One, I'm not carrying people around a lot, but that's my normal seating position there. I could not sit behind myself, but my wife or the shorter of my two boys, who are men or young men, would be able to fit behind me and ride around locally, going somewhere, on a short trip. I wouldn't think that they want to be there in a long time. The other thing that I really like, there's a ton of storage on these, and they have I like the little fact that the seats hidden here. I think the seat belt, somebody must have wrote in here. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Seat belts kind of tuck in there so that you can find them. I've used this storage to kind of do like a roadside bag. I have emergency tow cable and stuff in there, and I'm starting to work a little bit more on trying to get my off-road gear set up appropriately. I want to get some soft shackles and some tracks, and then I want to find some folks that I can kind of go with. But I love the storage and the ingenuity here. I love that you can remove this seat headrest off of the seat, and then you can take that and you can install them here, and that allows this seat to lay completely flat all the way across for storage. And I think that's just a really cool thing. There's been a lot of stuff that I have found that are kind of little hidden gems and things like that in here. But, the back seats are okay. I think the seats kind of remind me something of like the early 2000s. I think the new ones look a lot better. So I am glad for that. Again, the scratchy plastic here, and then you can kind of see, like, I don't know who did that. That was on the truck when I bought it particularly. Now I will say, maybe like a month after I bought the truck, the right rear axle seal busted, ruptured. I don't know what happened, and it leaked over the wheel bearing and over the brakes. So I did have one minor thing, and I think that's just chance. I don't think it's something that's wrong with the truck or that I'll run into an issue with the truck. But I do think, I do want to make note of that. I couldn't find a TRD off-road. I looked at the off-road because of the rear locker and the crawl control. And also, I feel like right now the TRD off-roads are a little overpriced. When I looked at things that were comparable with what this had available at the price point, because I don't think they were that different at the time of sale as far as price. I think the Sport, because of the painted stuff and the things that they did with the LSD and everything, made it competitively priced. I think they were within a few thousand of each other, if that, maybe even within 1,000 of each other. But the off-roads are fetching nearly 40, which is almost what a new Tacoma cost, with like 40,000 miles, 50,000 miles on it. And to me, I'm driving this 90% of the time on the road. I am loading my mountain bikes into the back. Sorry about the dirty garage. I have the tailgate cover over there on top of these totes. I have to I need a shed is what I need to hide the stuff. But, I'm mostly taking the mountain bikes, hauling them around, and then using it to haul stuff on occasion, and then driving it to work. It's my main vehicle. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position where I can afford to have a truck that just sits in the garage and the second vehicle that I drive every day. So I will say it's comfortable. It rides very quiet. I feel like it has good power, just in case I'm missing anything on the 5 and 5. The gear hunting, again, big issue. Not a big issue, but it's a little disheartening. Once you kind of learn how to drive it and get used to it, it's not that big a deal. But when I jump into my wife's RAV4 and go to drive, I got to remind myself not to push the pedal as far, because we're gone. If I do, like, it's going to take off. But I do like that. It sits high, but it still fits in the garage, which is one of the main reasons I wanted a midsize. So just kind of everything that I can think of. I hope I didn't miss the 5 things that I didn't like. If I did, I'll catch it in post-edit. But I just wanted to share that with you guys and let you know where I'm at. I intended when I first got this to just, I'm new to the Tacoma. I used to own a Tundra. I had a Titan at one point, had a hard body at another point. So I'm not unfamiliar with trucks. I've had a few Jeeps, so I'm not unfamiliar with them, but I am new to the Tacoma family. I'm excited to be a part of the Tacoma family. I certainly will share along the way anything that I do in hopes that it helps someone else, that that it brings some entertainment at the very least, even if you're not going to be doing that sort of stuff. But I really do like these trucks. I am excited about it. I think it is going to be a great foundation for something that I can make into like a weekend warrior thing, where I can go any weekend that I want. When I'm not mountain biking, I can go up to a couple of the parks that are local here. And I think they're going to be, they're going to offer a lot of fun for exploring. Again, I do want to do the wheels and tires probably first, because I think I can go all the way to a 70 on the stock suspension. And then later I do want to raise it about 2 inches. I think that's all it'll really need to give me that little bit of extra clearance. I got like a list of things that I want to do. I want to get rid of the side steps, even though my wife was like, please don't, and get some rock sliders and things of that nature. So there are things that I want to do. Steel bumper in the rear. I think I want to do a partial steel in the front where I can get a winch in there eventually. So I'll bring you along for those adventures and those things when I do them. Again, very excited to do all of that. Let me know what you think about my list, and I would be curious to hear what you think about your Tacoma, if you own a Tacoma specifically, and if you own a Frontier or a Ranger and just stumbled across this video for whatever reason. I would be curious to see what you had to say about that. The only reason I was torn between the Ranger FX4, XLT FX4, but I really didn't like the look of the 2023. And again, 2024 at the time of recording this, it is 25 now, but the 24s were still selling new, and I wasn't quite ready to spend that type of money. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed this one. Be curious again to see what you guys think. I do have affiliate links down in the description if you're interested in any of the stuff that I covered. And of course, I am going to list other things that I don't think that I covered, like the dongle adapter that's behind the powered mirror, that is where I have my dash cam. I'll have the dash cam linked if you're interested in that. And again, let me know if you have any questions, any input or thoughts on things I should do. The cosmetic stuff will always be last. I'm more interested in getting the off-roady stuff done first. All right, catch you guys on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.